writing itself takes a tremendous time. People actually imagine that writing a book can be... I mean, I've actually heard people say, oh, do it in a weekend.
Yes.
And it takes 2 years
yes.
to write a novel. And
one of your novels.
One of
yeah.
mine.
Yes.
Well... And I would greatly admire someone who could write a novel quickly. I mean, they take about... The latest one has taken 19 drafts, every bit handwritten.
Yes.
And it isn't easy.
Which draft does the public get?
About the 19th, 20th.
Right.
Yeah. You're really catching on tonight, Clive.
Yes.
Very fast.
Yeah. Thank you very much. You're a critic as well. There's no beginning to your talents. Now, because you've moved on to your writing now. That's what you're famous for.
All the old jokes are the best ones.
Yeah,
I've got to admit that.
Yeah, yes, I've read your books. Now, actually, that's not entirely true. I've read a couple of them for the purpose of this interview, and I've heard people being critical of your books in the past, and I'd have to say that they're not as bad as people say. Not quite, but.
Well, that's something I have common with your show.
So it's charm that got you where it did. But you're also like the Thatcherite man, the epitome of someone who's raised himself from on his bootstraps, made a fortune out of, in your case, novel writing. Is that sort of a blueprint you think that everyone else could follow?
No, certainly not. Though I don't think there's any harm, though you mimic it and knock it. There's no harm in wanting to achieve something.
No, I'm not mimicking it. I don't even get close to it, and I haven't knocked anything for ages. But now in your writing, there's been a little bit of controversy over some short stories that you wrote, A Twist in the Tale. There was a lady who suggested that you'd stolen one of the plots from her, or not stolen, but lifted it. Are these stories plots that you've had to go around and research around the world?
Well, what happens is often people think they've got a novel in them. They say to you, look, if you wrote my life story, it would be one of the world's bestsellers. And quite often they tell you a short story, which is very good indeed, because it applies to them and them alone, something that's actually happened to them. And yes, I would have said of the last set of short stories, 11 of the 12 were given to me by people who literally have had an experience of some sort and don't want to write it themselves, but feel it's worth recording, and they do tell you. 99 times out of 100, it's some form of story you've heard before.
But I'm talking about Kathleen Burnett, who said that you awarded her a prize in a short story competition, and then there it was, the story appeared in your book with...
Yes, you see, that's the sort of ill-informed, stupid remark you do make from time to time.
Yes.
As I said...
Well, it's not so much a remark as a question.
If you'd let me finish.
Yes, absolutely.
Having asked the question.
Yes, yeah. I was just responding to the insult.
Wasn't meant to be an insult.
No. That's the closest you get to a compliment.
If you get...